Everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Robot Comics Number 0 by Bob Burden. I don't know anyone who knows this comic. I've never heard it mentioned, never seen it reviewed, but I got this when I was a teenager, and I don't know why. It's like one of my favorite comics ever. It's surreal. It's like a beautiful poem, but written by a half-drunk idiot. It's really funny, but it also has these like moments that are just really wistful, and I don't know how to describe it. We're gonna look at it and maybe we can make sense of it together. Nice cover here. We see the robots, lots of robots in this comic, as you can imagine. Robot Night. You guys are familiar with Bob Burden, creator of Flaming Carrot. This was this comic he made 6 years before it came out. So in the early 80s he made this, pretty much when Flaming Carrot was just starting. He just had it on the shelf. And finally, through Renegade Press, his publisher, he could release it as a one-shot. Let me use his words. I will not explain it here, but I ask you to enjoy this as a cultural oddity that exploded on the pages with no bounds of reason or any attempt to conform to known standards. It is in essence experimental literature guised as a leaking barrel full of rip-snorting, foot-stomping belly laughs. And I think that kind of sums it up pretty well. So let's get to this first page. This art is really nice. It's like, Bob Burden simplified his art over the years, but man, look at the detail here. I kind of miss this kind of Bob Burden. I wish he drew like this a little more. I mean, he's great, but this is really nice cartooning. It starts off with a kind of a poem. It's actually in a rhyming meter. There used to be a bar up on the Cyclone Hill on the south side of town from the river and the mill. The bar was rough and ready, steamy, bristling with all zeal, and it was run by 3 young bimbos, Dixie, Nasty, and Lucille. It drew every kind of oddball from all the towns around, but the best nights I remember were when the Tin Men came on down. So here we see the 3 owners of the bar. Bob Burden really likes to draw the cheesecake. And it's just this typical night at the bar, but it's crazy. There's a banjo mummy playing in the corner. A young girl came by the table selling digits. She's just selling numbers. And basically that's what this comic is. We just see all these crazy little incidents of all these crazy random characters. A gooey thing is hanging from the ceiling. And then the robots show up and everyone's happy. Apparently when the robots show up, it's a lot of fun. These 2 croats, they don't like the robots. They're bitching about them. And the robots get behind the instruments and start playing. And everyone's dancing, having a great time. I like how this robot's teasing this guy. Ring around the collar, ring around the collar. This guy's mortified. He's like, those dirty rings. There's a lot of funny stuff in here. There's some journalists there reporting, and one of the robots zaps him. So then we see this character Mooney, and he sees this sexy robot, Chiquita Robata. And he's smitten. 2 robots get in a fight with a can opener switchblade. Uncle Billy had too many drinks and he puts a pie crust on his head. Uncle Billy's a character in Flaming Carrot. This guy's giving the robot some advice. It's like, no, you don't put ketchup on donuts. Oh, John, let him be. Can't you see he's having fun? A political demonstration is nipped in the bud when one robot, annoyed by these pedantic political guys, tears their participants limb from limb, and we see him ripping off the arm of this guy. There's an insurance salesman cleaning up. He's selling monster insurance to visiting Japanese businessmen. We see Uncle Billy again. Uncle Billy's getting into all kinds of antics. The frogmen of Akron swim through the bar, even though there's no liquid. They're just floating through the air. Like every panel in here almost has the seed or the germ of a great comic. He's just tossing off ideas. This young girl obsessed with death is pissing off this magician, so he just makes these like little monsters appear to fuck with her. He's tired of her whining. We see this junkie with collapsed veins now has to shoot up in his eye. A stranger walks by carrying his own tombstone. He will die soon. So it like goes from like zany wackiness, but then all these little panels are just like, oh, that's a sad little thing. So Mooney's making time with that robot chick, or he's trying to at least. And the robot band asks for a singer, and this guy gets up, and these lyrics are crazy. Now the giant living down the street is taking pictures of his feet to show all the girls he'll meet when he goes out west to college. We see, for some reason, Harry Lime shows up from the third man. Looks like Orson Welles. Uncle Billy's playing meatloaf football with the robots. I like this cute robot. He gets so carried away with the music. He dances so hard that he falls apart. And everyone's just going crazy. They're like, dance, robot, dance. Here we see a nice little crowd shot of everyone there. King Vider's there, directing the crowd shot. Until a robot falls in love with this camera. Now, Mooney takes the Chiquita robot up to the third floor. Apparently the third floor is this legendary, notorious, hedonistic home of the crass and the depraved. Just a lot of shenanigans go on there, devout shenanigans. And then skeleton dance, just out of the blue. And yeah, Moody's still leading, trying to find an empty room so he could get down with his the sexy robot. Across the hall, this is like how bizarre this is. It looks like this kind of S&M bondage. But why are you going to punish me, Debbie? I'm going to punish you for something you didn't do. But why? You're my best friend, Debbie. Because, Kathy. Because I'm different. That's just one panel. I want to see an 8-page story about these two. Mooney makes a sick discovery in the third floor nursery. He finds a human skin with nothing inside. And it turns out that it's the works of a super cancer Ultra 9, a living plasma hybrid carcinogen that enters the host through various body orifices, eating the insides and leaving it a sucked out bag of skin. So Mooney decides to take his robot chick downstairs. The third floor is getting a little too weird. And when they get down there, there's a huge brawl. This clown is squirting seltzer at this guy. But then the super cancer starts attacking people. And the band's still playing. And that guy's still singing with them. Oh, he's called the Lone Gunman, this guy. Someone requests Cracklin' Rosie, and he pulls out his gun to perform a postnatal abortion on the guy. The super cancer's going nuts. He's having a field day. Dueling banjos. These guys are literally fighting with banjos. The sex police take advantage of the pandemonium to snare a couple of suspects. The exquisite corpse is singing or screaming out stuff. The young girl earlier who's obsessed with death gets killed by a stray boomerang. I could read this comic. I wish there was 3,000 issues of this. I would read this religiously every month. This guy sees a pilgrim at the bar. And the space monster, super cancer, tries to invade the body of a robot and electrocutes itself. So Mooney's robot heartthrob left with the Maytag repairman. A probate lawyer was hung from the rafters. Harry Lime eludes a squad of KBG agents escaping down a manhole. And at sunrise, they buried the dead and some of the wounded at the drive-in. And that's it. I think it's like 20 pages long. It's just, oh, I love it. It's the mixture of just like, it's experimental writing. You could tell that Bob Burden just like started writing and drawing and just went with it. Every panel is like, just a non sequitur, a gag, sometimes not a gag, sometimes something sad or mournful. So We're By Comics. I don't know where you'd find this. Even though nobody cares about it, I don't think they made many. And I think a lot of them probably just got pulped. Didn't even sell. But, Bob Burden's got his fans. I'm sure they picked this up. Flaming Carrot was pretty big in the 80s. And I hope you can find a copy. One of my favorite comics of all time. I don't really know why, but I do know why, I think. Because it's just wonderful and weird. And I wish there was more comics like this. Or movies or books, anything. Just how fun it is. So We're By Comics number 0. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can find a copy. And hopefully I'll see you here next time at the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.